And Joan, PhD, is an associate professor of education at George Mason University and an award-winning author and series editor for National Geographic Learning. So let me make sure you have control of your slides. I have the timer, and again, thanks for doing it, and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Rob. So, hi everyone. I'm very excited to be with you. I think that the EFL Talks is such a fantastic way to share information. Very excited to talk about my topic today. So, this talk is all about visual literacy for young learners. And simply put, visual literacy is the ability to construct meaning from images. And as English teachers, we are always concerned with teaching our young learners how to be literate. And this traditionally means learning how to read and write. But I would like to talk about the importance of being able to read and write images and build learners' visual literacy. So if I asked you to read this image, you may be able to figure out that this is a photo of a floating market in Thailand. But of course, just like reading text, you need background knowledge and specific skills in order to do so. Before I give you an example, I want to just point out that in this digital age, communication in the 21st century requires skills to interpret lots and lots and lots of information online and through social media. I would like to emphasize the importance of interpreting visual information. Although visual literacy is not necessarily a new concept, it has become increasingly important in this digital age. So think about it. Visual information is a huge part of our daily lives. Think about how often you look at or use photos and videos, how often you are looking at magazines and different websites, and maybe you're bombarded by advertisements all over, even on billboards as you're driving around. So as you can see and you can imagine, well, we do not live in a text-based world. And in fact, we as humans are extremely visual. Even from prehistoric times, our ancestors were using images to depict our world and communicate to others well before our use of words and text. So you can see here, it's a photo of a prehistoric painting in where? Lascaux Cave in France from over 17,000 years ago. The use of visuals to communicate with one another has been a natural part of what it means to be human. Brain-based research shows that 80 to 90% of the information we take in is visual. So even when we're children, we take in visual information before we learn how to read, right? For example, when children read storybooks, they absorb information through the pictures before they're ready to be able to read the text. And we're always kind of leading them to that when we're reading them stories. This is similar to what we do when we read a magazine or surf the internet. We usually go to the images first to make sense of the text on the page or screen, or that might be what attracts us first to read text. So this is actually a very important reading skill. Did you know that we read non-text 60,000 times faster than text? When we read, we usually look for those visuals, right? Like the photos and illustrations and the graphics first. For our young learners to get information from text, they have to be able to interpret and understand the corresponding images, such as photos and pictures and graphics. And that means that learning a language is not only reading and writing words. It is also being able to understand visual information and even use it to communicate with others. By the way, an additional benefit of learning information simultaneously through text and visuals is that it can dramatically increase retention and recall. So of course, that's also great for us as English teachers. So let me give you an example. By the way, it's not surprising that we as humans are visual beings, right? We've already established that. Did you know that children are actually primed for interpreting visual information at an early age? At about 12 months of age, children can actually understand graphic images. For example, they know that a photograph of an apple represents a real apple. It's kind of amazing. And by 3 years of age, most children can use visual symbols to represent something. So for example, sometimes a circle and 2 sticks can be used to denote a person, or sometimes using an M shape to denote a bird in a picture. It's amazing, right? How we're primed, even as young children, to be able to utilize visual information. All right, so here's an example that I want to give for working on visual literacy with our young learners. And this is an example for maybe a little bit older young learners. And as you know, advertisers use images as powerful tools to make you buy things. So this is a really good skill for our young learners to learn. And do you think that advertisers and those companies know that we read images 60,000 times faster than text? You bet they do. So you can have your young learners bring in advertisements and analyze them, right? We want our young learners to become aware of why they're making certain decisions. And in this example, young learners are building their critical visual literacy skills. So we can encourage our students to become ad detectives. So are you an ad detective? Can you understand the messages that advertisers send to you? To be an ad detective, it's useful to know how ads work. Let's look at some typical advertising techniques. So one is group pressure. An ad shows a lot of people, each with their own mobile phone. What message are you getting from this? Oh, everyone has a mobile phone and you need one too. How about this technique? It's called association. Everyone looks healthy and happy in the ad. They're cool and beautiful too. What is the message we're getting? That if you buy the product, you will be happy and cool like these people. Some other types of techniques are testimonials from celebrities or famous people, maybe repetition, right? Sometimes there's ads and you see them over and over and over again. Maybe there's time pressure in the ad. Buy now, time's running out, and it urges you then to buy that product. So after students learn various techniques that advertisers use, then you can have them use them to analyze different ads. Okay, so for example, okay, here's an example. So take a look at this ad for Pepsi Skinny Can. So what does this ad communicate to you? What do you think advertisers are trying to communicate to you? Yeah, so if you're like me, the message you're getting is that, oh, if I drink Diet Pepsi from this skinny can, I will be skinny and beautiful and sexy like Sofia Vergara. That's the actress who is in this ad. Okay, so they're giving you this image, and then maybe it makes you want to buy this Diet Pepsi and drink it from a skinny can. The point is, you can help your students by asking them to think critically about the image. So get them to think about what techniques does the ad use to make you want to buy it. All right, so the students are going to think critically about who's responsible for the ad, who is the advertiser selling the product to, do you want to buy the product, why, what techniques does the ad use, Does it use group, pressure, association, a testimonial, a celebrity, an attractive person, time pressure? Also, what does the ad say or suggest about the product? Okay, so remember that a visually literate viewer can look at an image carefully and critically with an eye for the intentions of the image's creator. In this case, it's advertisers. All right, so now I want to make one last point, which is really emphasize the importance of visual literacy for our young learners. So we need to teach them how to think critically about these images, because consider this. So first of all, in this example, the advertiser has made an assumption already about all of us looking at this ad, right? The assumption is that we already know that it is desirable or important for us to be skinny or to look like this, right? That's how they're drawing us in, is that you already know this information. So think about how seeing images throughout media of either skinny models or people dressed in a certain way affects our young learners. And so these images that our young learners are bombarded by are actually building their view of the world and themselves. So it isn't just enough to teach them to use English as a global language, right? We need to help them learn to be visually literate. And so thank you all so much, and I hope that was helpful.